After my wife pulled out my oxygen tube, we were both reborn. In my previous life, I fell in love with a poor scholarship student named Willow. In order to marry her, I paid to forcibly extend her seriously ill mother's life, gave her jewelry worth over 100 million yuan, and spent millions investing in her money-losing, women-only bar venture. What I didn't expect was that, after a car accident left me hospitalized, she personally pulled out my oxygen tube. Because Willow never loved me, she hated that I used money to trap her, to stop her from being with the men she truly loved. When I opened my eyes again, Willow slapped away the diamond ring I handed to her. Chapter 1. George, I already told you, I don't like you. Don't even think about insulting my dignity with money. Willow looked at me with undisguised disgust on her face. She continued, and besides, I already told you a few days ago that we're done. Stop pestering me. After speaking, she walked over to Makoto, grabbed his hand, and said, the one I like is Makoto. I'll only be his girlfriend. No matter how expensive the gifts you give me are, I won't accept them. A group of onlooking students were whispering to each other with curiosity and excitement. Only then did I realize I had been reborn, back to the year when Willow was graduating from university. A few days ago, she had broken up with me, so I spent 30 million yuan to buy a pink diamond ring, followed her to school, and tried to win her back. In my previous life, the moment she saw the ring, she had been so excited that she immediately put it on her finger. But this time, before I even opened the box, she raised her hand and smacked the ring case out of mine. So I said coldly, Willow, you're way too full of yourself. Who said this ring was for you? I gave a cold laugh and looked up at the crowd around us. Sure enough, Anna was there, her eyes red and misty as she stared at me. I bent down, picked up the ring box, walked through the crowd to her side, and opened it in front of everyone. I said, Anna, your birthday is coming up. This diamond ring is my gift to you. The pink diamond sparkled under the sunlight, its glow both gentle and dazzling. The surrounding students gasped in surprise. Some even jumped up in excitement on the spot. Someone close enough to see the tag cried out, oh my god, it's a 30 million yuan pink diamond ring. That's insanely expensive. Someone else came closer and joked, if someone gave me a ring like that, I'd agree to marry him on the spot. Another person said, Willow is really ungrateful. With her background, what right does she have to act so stuck up? Someone echoed, exactly, she just let a golden opportunity fly away. Another student chimed in, Anna and young Master Wang have been childhood sweethearts. They're a perfect match, same status, same family background. Anna looked at me with shock and joy, as if she couldn't believe what was happening. She asked softly, George, is this really for me? I replied, yes, it's for you. Will you be my girlfriend? Tears slipped down Anna's cheeks. She hugged me tightly and said, I will. Chapter 2. Anna, the only daughter of the Su Corporation, was also my childhood friend. She had secretly loved me since we were little. When she started college, I went to visit her on campus. That's when I unexpectedly met Willow, a financially struggling freshman working part-time at a cafe. She and Anna were in the same year, but due to her family's poverty, Willow had already started working before the semester even began. When she accidentally spilled coffee on me, she got so scared she started crying. Looking at Willow's faded jeans and worn-out canvas shoes, I felt something stir inside me. She was different from the privileged young lady I had grown up with. She was like a resilient blade of grass, struggling to survive in this harsh city, and I fell for this girl who stood out from the rest. When I learned she couldn't afford her tuition, I handed her my bank card and promised to pay for all her expenses during college, on one condition: she had to become my girlfriend. Willow stared at the card, biting her lower lip for a long time in hesitation. In the end, she accepted it, grudgingly, humiliated. But when she graduated and heard the news that our classmate Makoto was getting married, she got completely drunk, crying. She told me she hated me. She believed that if it weren't for me, she and Makoto would have ended up together. She said I had ruined her chance at true love. Devastated, I chose to let her go. But then Willow's mother's illness took a turn for the worse. She needed a kidney transplant urgently. Desperate to save her mom, Willow climbed into my bed of her own accord, and promised she would marry me. That night, she was passionate and uninhibited, and I fell for her all over again. But after we got married, Willow became emotionally distant, cold even, until the day I was in a car accident. Before my family arrived at the hospital, she pulled the oxygen tube from my nose, with her own hands. After I came back to life, the first thing she did was try to be with Makoto again. Fine, if that's what she wants. This time, I'll let her have her wish. When she saw Anna and me hugging, Willow couldn't hide her jealousy. She snapped, George, we've only broken up for a few days, and now you're already with someone else. So that's how much I meant to you. I almost laughed from how ridiculous she sounded. For 4 years of college, I spent more money on her than I could count. I got her sick mother into the best private hospital, bought the most expensive imported medicine. Yet to her, it was all nothing special. Makoto cut in. Willow, don't bother with him. I have a gift for you too. As he spoke, Makoto knelt on one knee and pulled out a small, cheap jewelry box. He said, Willow, I thought we were going to miss each other for good. I'm so glad you finally looked back and saw me. Then he opened the box. Inside lay a ring, shimmering faintly in gold. Willow picked it up joyfully. Makoto gazed at her with deep affection. Willow, this is a ring I polished myself using a 5-cent coin. It took me half a year, he added. I even engraved your name inside the band, to show how much I love you. Then he asked. So, such a precious gift, do you like it? Chapter 3. For a brief moment, the crowd fell silent, then chatter erupted like an explosion. Someone said, Oh my God, a ring made from a coin. Are they playing house or something? Another added, my little brother's in middle school, and even he used his New Year's gift money to buy me a solid gold ring for my birthday, over 3 grams. Yet another voice chimed in. Stop it, I'm starting to feel second-hand embarrassment. If word gets out, won't students from other schools laugh at us? I need to go look at that pink diamond again and cleanse my eyes. A flicker of embarrassment crossed Willow's face. Before her rebirth, she might have been touched by such a gift. After all, Makoto had made it with his own hands, cheap as it was. It still held his sincerity, but in her previous life, Willow had lived in a luxury villa with me. She dined on gourmet delicacies, wore the latest seasonal collections from high-end brands, and every little piece of jewelry she owned was worth millions. She was no longer that college girl in faded canvas shoes and washed-out jeans. Willow glanced at me. Seeing that I was waiting to watch her squirm, she quickly slipped the ring onto her finger and smiled. Compared to people who just throw money around to buy gifts, something handmade truly shows the heart behind it. Then she helped Makoto up from the ground, and the two of them walked off hand in hand. Graduation for the senior class had already taken place, and students were leaving campus one after another. Makoto hadn't found a place to live yet, so Willow returned to the dorm with him to pack his things, then invited him to move into her apartment. Carrying their luggage, the two of them pedaled laboriously on shared bikes. Finally arriving at the building, Willow said, Don't worry, Makoto, it won't be long before you land a job at Chan Corp. Once that happens, we'll start saving for a car of our own. As she encouraged him, Willow leaned wearily against the door, reached out, and entered the passcode, but the electronic lock responded with a cold mechanical voice. Incorrect password. Willow froze, then tried twice more. Still wrong. Willow. Are you sure this is the right place? Makoto asked gently. Willow slammed her hand against the door in frustration. I didn't get the wrong place, she huffed. George must have changed the password on purpose, just to make me beg him for forgiveness. She pulled out her phone and dialed my number. She said, George, is this your little hard-to-get act? You really think changing the lock will make me crawl back to you? If you don't want me to hate you even more, you'd better open this door now. Chapter 4. At that moment, I was at the mall shopping with Anna. When she heard Willow's voice on the phone, she nervously tugged at the corner of my shirt. I smiled and gently held her hand. In my past life, after I died, Anna had thrown herself onto my body, crying until she fainted, more than once. Compared to Willow, she was the one truly worth cherishing. I said, Willow, we've already broken up, and if I'm not mistaken, that apartment belongs to me, doesn't it? Willow's face instantly darkened, but with Makoto standing beside her, she had no way to unleash her anger on me. She said, Then at least open the door. I need to grab my stuff. I pretended to be surprised. Oh, I didn't know you had anything in there, she replied. My clothes and personal items are all inside. I let out a short laugh and said, Willow, weren't all those things bought with my money? How do they count as yours? What now? Breaking up isn't enough. You still want to take advantage of me? Through gritted teeth, Willow spat. Fine, George, just you wait. Even if you come crawling back to me one day, begging, I'll never forgive you. Before she could finish, I hung up. That line should have been mine to say to her. Makoto held Willow tightly and said with pity, George is way out of line. Who does he think he is, treating you like that? Don't worry. One day I'll make something of myself. Willow, I still have some money. Let's go rent a place and get settled first. Willow's eyes turned slightly red, clearly touched. She said, You've got an interview in a few days, you need to eat and rest well. Let's stay in a hotel nearby for a few nights, and once you land the job, we'll rent an apartment close to your office. Willow led Makoto to a 5-star hotel near the apartment complex. Out of habit, she reached for the hotel's black card, but after fumbling around for a while, she realized something. She wasn't married to me in this lifetime yet. Naturally, The black card she'd gotten used to using in her past life wasn't with her now. Awkwardly, Willow gave a stiff smile and pulled out a regular bank card. She said, "I'll take a suite, something quiet." The front desk responded, "Certainly, miss. That'll be $3,888 per night." Hearing that, Makoto quickly grabbed Willow's arm. He urged, "Willow, are you crazy? That's enough to rent an apartment for 2 whole months." But Willow calmly said, "It's fine, there's money on the card." A second later, the hotel receptionist smiled apologetically. "I'm sorry, miss, your card has insufficient funds." Chapter 5. Willow looked completely stunned. How is that possible? She took back the bank card. It was the same card I'd given her back in freshman year, a supplementary card tied to my account. She had used it for nearly 4 years. In Willow's mind, it had already become hers. It never occurred to her that I might cancel it. Her face instantly darkened. Grabbing Makoto, she stormed out of the hotel. "Willow, what's wrong?" Makoto asked cautiously, pressing her lips together. Willow said, "Makoto, how much money do you have on you? Maybe we should just find a cheaper hotel for now." Makoto hesitated. "Hotels are too expensive. I don't have much left, either. Actually, a few days ago I found a 1-bedroom apartment through an agent. Why don't we go rent it now? It'll be more cost-effective than a hotel." Willow reluctantly nodded. "All right, let's make do for now." And so, burdened with bags, Willow and Makoto moved into the small rental unit. It wasn't big, barely 50 square meters. Willow walked in, took one look around, and frowned slightly. The entire apartment wasn't even as large as the living room in the place I had her living before. Makoto's uneasy voice broke the silence. "This place, it's definitely nowhere near what you're used to. We'll just have to manage for now." Willow shook her head and said, "Small places feel cozy. I actually like homes like this. That huge apartment George put me in before. I never got used to it anyway." Makoto lit up with joy. "Don't worry, I absolutely won't treat you like he did. In the future, I will definitely give you a small house to live in." "Really?" Willow's eyes sparkled with delight, and she threw herself into his arms. A man who actually respected her opinions and choices. If that wasn't love, what was? Feeling the warmth of her body pressed against him, Makoto's ears turned red. In the tiny rental space, the two of them gazed at each other with affection, and then, irresistibly, leaned in for a kiss. Just then, Willow's phone rang from inside her bag. "Hello, Ms. Liu. Your mother's hospital fees are overdue. You'll need to come in and settle the bill today. And by the way, she's only got 3 days worth of the imported medication left. Please bring more when you come." Chapter 6. Willow stood frozen on the spot. In her previous life, her mother had already received the kidney transplant, recovered, and been discharged from the hospital. So when she returned to her 22-year-old self, she had completely forgotten. At this moment, her mother was still in the hospital, suffering through painful treatment. In her last life, money had never been a problem for Willow. She drove the luxury car I gave her, lived in the upscale apartment I paid for, and used my credit card to cover all her mother's medical bills. Even her good-for-nothing younger brother was sent by me to the best private high school in the entire city. Yet all that time, she acted like I had forced her into it, like she was the victim of some unbearable injustice. Now, Willow had finally broken free from me, just as she wanted, and she had nothing. I wanted to see how she would handle those astronomical hospital bills now. To celebrate my new beginning, I went drinking with some friends and ended up completely wasted. On the way home, I crashed straight into a utility pole. Anna, who was with me, couldn't wake me up. Panicked and crying, she finally called 911 and got me rushed to the hospital. I slept through the whole night, and Anna stayed by my side the entire time. The next morning, just as I was getting ready to leave, I saw Willow in the hospital lobby. Choking back tears, she pleaded, "Doctor, please keep treating my mom. I'll pay the bill in a few days. I promise." She clung desperately to the doctor's white coat, her face full of begging sorrow. The doctor shook his head. "It's not that I don't want to treat her, but hospital policy is strict, and I'm just a regular doctor. I don't have that kind of authority. You should try reaching out to friends or relatives. See if you can gather the money quickly." With that, Dr. Yang brushed off Willow's hand and turned to leave. Willow collapsed into a chair, her eyes red with frustration. As Anna and I walked past her, Willow suddenly looked up, glaring at me with bitterness. "George," she spat, "I know this is all just a ploy to force me to marry you, but too bad, it won't work. You followed me here, didn't you? Just waiting for me to come begging. The more you act like this, the more I hate you. Just stay away from me," she went on. "Neither I nor my mother need your filthy money. I refuse to live that humiliating life ever again." I was speechless. "And even if you marry that woman beside you, don't think for a second I'll get jealous and come crawling back. Get that out of your head." Anna was just about to speak up in my defense, but I gently stopped her. I said, Thank you for your blessing. The Wang and Su families have long planned this marriage alliance, so I hope you won't interrupt our happiness again. With that, I took Anna's hand and led her away. George. Anna bit her lower lip and hesitantly asked, "Will you really marry me?" I raised my hand and gently pinched her cheek, smiling. "Of course, and if it'll put your mind at ease, I'll have my parents visit your family in the next few days to discuss our engagement. How does that sound?" Anna blushed and nodded. "Okay," she said softly. In the last life, after we graduated from university, Anna confessed her feelings to me but was rejected. Heartbroken, she left the country alone. This time, I would give her the perfect wedding she deserved. Chapter 7. With nowhere else to turn, Willow was forced to sell the earrings I once gave her, at a low price to a second-hand dealer. Only then was she able to pay for another short stretch of her mother's medical treatment. She used what was left to buy some basic household items for the small apartment she shared with Makoto, and picked up a few changes of clothes for herself. Willow had grown used to a life of luxury and quality. She couldn't bring herself to buy cheap things, so by the end of the day, the 300,000 yuan she got from selling the earrings was already down to 100,000. In the end, she took the remaining money and went to find Sophia, the girlfriend of one of my close friends. In the previous life, after I married Willow, I worried she'd get bored staying at home, so I gave her a sum of money to invest. She ended up partnering with Sophia to open a women-only bar, a bar exclusively for female guests. Many people who wanted favors from my family or hoped to do business with us would send their wives and daughters there to show support. Thanks to that, the bar made a fortune not long after opening. Those women trying to curry favor with the Wang family constantly surrounded Willow, flattering her as if she were some brilliant businesswoman. And after hearing the compliments enough times, she started to believe them, that even without me, she could succeed all on her own. But this time, when she brought 100,000 yuan to Sophia, hoping to reopen the same kind of bar, she was scolded and thrown out. Sophia said, "You think you can open a bar with just 100,000? Do you even know the rent in the area you're talking about? It's tens of millions a year. I really don't get what young Master Wang ever saw in you. He spent so much money on you, and not only are you ungrateful, you act like it was all some kind of humiliation. You've got so much pride, so what are you doing here begging me now?" Willow stared at Sophia in shock. She said, "Didn't you once say I was your best friend?" Sophia took a step back, just as shocked. "What are you talking about? Even if I lost my mind, I'd never say something like that. You were just a broke country girl. If it weren't for young Master Wang, I would never have crossed paths with someone like you in my entire life." In her previous life, after they opened the bar together, Sophia really had said things like that to Willow. But in this life, Willow never married me, and she and Sophia were never that close. Still, Willow didn't give up. One by one, she went looking for all those wealthy women who used to crowd around her in her past life, trying to befriend her. But this time, not a single one paid her any attention. And only then did Willow finally understand. She didn't succeed because she was capable. She succeeded only because she was my wife. Chapter 8. With no other options left, Willow placed all her hopes on Makoto. In her previous life, Makoto had landed a job at Chan Corporation right after graduation. Even during his internship, he earned nearly 20,000 yuan per month. But what Willow didn't know was that it was because I had feared she might get involved with Makoto again, so I arranged for him to work at a friend's company. This time, Makoto wasn't so lucky. When Willow returned to the apartment she shared with Makoto, he was still wearing his interview suit, standing in the kitchen cooking. Willow asked, "How was it? Did it go well today?" She placed a bottle of red wine on the dining table. Makoto gave a bitter smile and said, "Chan Corporation's recruitment requirements are too strict. I'll try another company tomorrow." "What?" Willow's eyes widened in disbelief. After a while, she shouted in anger, "It must be that bastard George. He must have done something behind the scenes to force me to go back to him. I'm going to confront him right now." Makoto quickly pulled her back. He said, "Willow, don't go." "This has nothing to do with George," Willow asked. "Why not? Are you just afraid of George?" Her face was filled with confusion. Makoto sighed and said, "I looked at Chan Corporation's public hiring records over the past few years, and I found that they haven't hired anyone with less than a master's degree in the past 3 years." Willow slumped onto the couch and said, How is that possible?" She couldn't understand. If Chan Corporation didn't hire bachelor's degree holders, then how did Makoto get hired in her previous life? Makoto said, "Let's eat first." He brought the food he had cooked to the table. When he saw the red wine, he frowned and said, "Willow, I already spent over 100 yuan today just on pork ribs and shrimp. Even if you have some money now, your mom's medical bills are due again next month. You should learn to live frugally and start saving money, maybe even find a job to help cover living expenses." Willow froze. She didn't expect Makoto to resent her. Her eyes turned red, and she bit her lip and said, "I bought this to celebrate your entry into Chan Corporation. That's what I thought would happen today. Besides, this bottle of wine was only a little over 1,000 yuan. It's nothing compared to what I used to drink." Makoto interrupted her. "Willow, do you really think that just because you were with George for a few years, you've become a real heiress? Other people might not know your background, but don't you? I thought you broke up with George because you wanted to become independent. Turns out you've just gotten used to being a kept woman and now think you're some big deal." The next second, smack. Willow raised her hand and slapped Makoto. Her hands trembled with rage as she choked out, "Makoto, I gave up so much for you, and this is what you say to me." After speaking, Willow turned and stormed off in anger. Makoto rushed forward, wrapped his arms around her and said, "Willow, I was wrong. I just want us to work hard together, that's all I meant. Please, forgive me this once, okay?" He was the man she loved. How could she bring herself to leave? Tears streaming down her face, Willow nodded. Chapter 9. 1 month later, at my engagement banquet with Anna, I unexpectedly saw Willow. She was working at this hotel. Because her major was English, she was responsible for greeting foreign guests. Wearing her work uniform, she looked so different that I almost didn't recognize her. When she had just been reborn, Willow still carried herself with confidence in every move, but now, she looked much thinner. Dark circles surrounded her eyes, and even makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion on her face. Just after she finished assisting a foreign guest, she let out a tired, irritated sigh. Then she looked up, and saw me standing there with a bouquet of flowers in my hands. Willow immediately straightened up. The frown on her face smoothed out. A lofty, dismissive smirk appeared on her lips. Like a model stepping onto a runway, she walked toward me with graceful confidence. As she looked up at me, I unexpectedly noticed fine crow's feet at the corners of her eyes. The cheap foundation on her face clung in dry, patchy clumps. Willow smiled and opened her mouth to speak, but before she could say a word, a female voice rang out, "George." We both turned around at the same time. Anna stood at the hotel entrance, bathed in golden sunlight like a fairy. She wore a custom-made gown flown in from France, worth 80 million yuan, and crystal heels embedded with 888 diamonds. The confidence on Willow's face shattered instantly. Her expression turned stone cold as she quickly stepped between Anna and me. She said, "George, I know you're doing all this just to make me jealous. You deliberately chose the hotel where I work to host your engagement, didn't you? You just wanted me to see Anna looking like this, and regret everything. I admit, I'm not living as well as I used to. I was too young. I overestimated the power of love. I'm willing to give you a chance, to let you pursue me again." I gave a cold laugh, but before I could reply, the hotel manager rushed over and pulled Willow aside. The manager shouted, "What do you think you're doing? This is young Master Wang's engagement banquet. Do you still want to keep your job?" Willow struggled for a long time but couldn't break free from the manager's grasp. She watched helplessly as Anna walked up to me and took my hand. Through gritted teeth, Willow finally shouted, "George, you win. Even if I could live this life all over again, I still wouldn't be able to escape you. I agree to be your girlfriend. We can even get engaged today. Just tell Anna to take off that gown and give it to me." Chapter 10. Ha ha ha. The group of friends following behind Anna burst into loud laughter. Someone said, "So this is the poor student you sponsored, young Master Wang. Looks like even after all that support, she's still clinging to you. Normally she looks like a decent girl, but who knew she was this unhinged?" Another chimed in, "But she actually wants Anna to take off her engagement dress and give it to her. How shameless can she get?" Yet another added, "Must have lost her mind fantasizing about marrying into a wealthy family." Someone else scoffed, "Exactly. I bet she doesn't even know the Wang and Su family alliance just secured a multi-billion yuan project. What does she have to compete with Anna? Her? Does she even have a spare 100,000 yuan in her account?" Voices piled on one after another, and Willow's face grew increasingly humiliated. I couldn't be bothered to look at her anymore. I held Anna's hand and was about to walk out of the lobby. "Wait." Willow called out to stop me. I turned around. She closed her eyes, as if making an enormous decision, and finally said, "George, I'll be honest with you. I came back from the future. I was reborn. In my previous life, I married you not long after graduating from college. We were married for 3 years. Even though I sometimes looked down on you, for the most part, we were happy. After we got married, I always regretted not ending up with Makoto. That's why, when I came back, I wanted to fix that mistake, but I realized I was wrong. I'd stopped loving him long ago. The person I've always loved has been you. George, I know I'm not as good as Anna, but no matter how rich she is, you don't love her, do you? From beginning to end, the one you've truly loved has only been me." The room burst into another wave of mocking laughter. After my rebirth, the reason I never took revenge on Willow was simple. I wanted her to slowly realize her true place in this world. It's easy to go from poor to rich, but going from rich back to poor, that's a slow, painful decay, without me doing anything. This once glorious flower was already wilting on her own. Anna clutched my hand tightly, her face red with fury. She snapped. Willow, why are you so annoying, clinging to me like a leech? But I just smiled calmly and said, Anna, getting angry at someone like her isn't worth it. She really thinks she's Cinderella, dreaming that I'd marry her. A woman like her, if anything happened to me, she'd probably be the first to rip out my oxygen tube and use my money to support another man. Isn't that right, Willow? Willow's eyes widened in terror. She stared at the subtle, knowing smile on my face, and said with a trembling voice, So, you remember too. Chapter 11. I held Anna's hand and walked toward the elevator, ready to head to the top-floor banquet hall for our engagement ceremony. Just as I turned around, I heard an angry shout behind me. Willow, if I hadn't biked all the way here to bring you food just because you've had no appetite lately, I wouldn't have caught such a damn good show. It was Makoto, wearing a helmet, shouting with fury. Willow glanced at him, then raised her voice too. She snapped. This is a 5-star hotel. Even my staff meals here are better than the food you bring me. I don't need you kissing up to me. If you've got time to spare, why don't you do something useful, like figure out how to get my brother back in school? Only then did I realize, the high school entrance exam results must be out by now. And Willow's younger brother hadn't passed. In my previous life, I had personally brought her brother from their rural county into the city and enrolled him in the best private high school. Later, after he graduated, I even gave him a house and arranged a job for him. But now, without my support, Willow's brother probably had no school to go to at all. Makoto was so angry he threw the lunchbox he was holding. He cursed. Willow, how can you even say that? I fronted 3,000 yuan for your mom's medical bills just last month. I've done everything I can to take care of you, cooking different meals every day. But all you do is complain that my river shrimp aren't as good as Australian lobsters, or that my grass carp isn't as fancy as the seafood you used to eat. You really think you're some rich heiress? You think you deserve that life? You want to climb back into George's world? You think he'd actually take you back and marry you? Willow, always sensitive and insecure, flushed red with humiliation, she shouted. I used to spend tens of thousands on a single meal. My clothes cost hundreds of thousands. My bags were worth millions. Whatever I wanted, people lined up to give me. If it weren't for you, would I have ended up like this? Other people give pink diamonds as love tokens. And yours was a coin, and you're not even ashamed of it, as a grown man. Hearing that, Makoto clapped his hands and burst into loud laughter. Ha ha ha, Willow, are you still dreaming? You can't even afford your mom's hospital bills, and you're still living in some fantasy. You really think people don't know you were working part-time in a coffee shop before school even started, just to cover your living expenses? Sure, you lived the high life with young Master Wang for a few years, but with a family like yours dragging you down, who the hell would actually want to marry you? Let me tell you the truth, I only pursued you because of a bet I made with the guys. And guess what? Today's the last day of that bet. Willow, we're done. I'm dumping you. Chapter 12. A bet. What bet? Tell me, who did you make the bet with, and what was it about? Willow was so frantic she started stomping her feet, and I, too, paused at the elevator doors. Could it be that the man Willow had been obsessed with for so long had only gotten close to her because of a stupid bet? Makoto chuckled. The day you spilled coffee on George at the cafe, someone from our class saw it. Later on, during a casual chat, we joked about whether any of us could actually win you over, just to see what it feels like to be with the kind of girl a rich guy likes. They said if I could keep you as my girlfriend for 2 full months, every guy in the class would give me 500 yuan. I didn't think I had a chance, honestly, but to my surprise, I actually did it. Willow screamed. You bastard. She lunged at him, furiously scratching at Makoto's face with her nails. Makoto shoved her away and said, You've only got yourself to blame. I really was willing to take responsibility for you. If you had just worked hard with me, who knew you'd turn out to be so greedy and arrogant? Right at that moment, Willow's phone rang. Her younger brother's voice came through from the other end. Sis, they say the private high school in our county is really good, and it's only 30,000 yuan per semester. I already registered, just transfer me the money. Okay. Willow felt a buzzing in her ears. She yelled into the phone. If you didn't get into public high school, then go get a factory job. Where do you get the nerve to ask for money to go to a private school? I can't even afford mom's medical bills, and you're still whining about private high school. On the other end, her brother shouted in frustration. Willow, you're the one who promised to pay for me to go to private school. Now what, you're going back on your word? Willow, exasperated, hung up the phone, but it rang again. "Ms. Lou, your mother's condition has worsened. We need to proceed with a kidney transplant as soon as possible. Please come to the hospital to discuss treatment with the doctors." After hearing this, Willow's legs gave out, and she collapsed to the ground, this time, because they had stopped the expensive imported medication. Her mother's condition had worsened earlier than expected. After a long moment, Willow slowly lifted her head, her expression full of panic, eyes brimming with tears. Still on her knees, she crawled toward me on all fours. "George, no. Young Master Wang, I'm begging you, please save my mother." Seeing that I remained silent, a familiar, humiliating expression, just like the one from our past life, returned to Willow's face. She slowly sat back on her knees, straightened her posture, and bowed her head deeply to me. She said, "I was wrong. I beg you, for the sake of what we once had, please save my mother." Chapter 13, I said. "If it's already this miserable, then you might as well die and get it over with." Those were the exact words Willow had whispered in my ear, right before she pulled out my oxygen tube in my previous life. Now, I was simply giving them back to her. Word for word, I added. "Besides, aren't you good at pulling out oxygen tubes? Go back to the hospital, do it again. You're already practiced." Willow knelt on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Her whole body trembled without restraint. Through choked sobs, she cried out, "I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. It was my own inferiority complex. I knew deep down I wasn't good enough for you. So I kept fantasizing about a love between equals. I didn't know, I really didn't know, that Makoto only said he liked me because of a bet. He ruined me in both lives. 2 whole lives. I know you'll never forgive me. But if you're willing to save my mother, I'm willing to be your servant for life, to serve you forever." As she spoke, she crawled forward, trying to cling to my leg. "Get away." Standing beside me all this time, Anna could finally take no more. She kicked Willow hard in the ribs. The nearby security guards who had been watching the scene unfold immediately stepped in and restrained Willow. I said, "Willow, the fact that I haven't retaliated against you is already the last bit of mercy I'll give. Without me, you couldn't afford tuition. Your mother, without access to medication, might have died 2 years ago. And your brother, he'd never have had a chance at education. This life you're living now, this is the life you were always meant for. This ending, it's exactly what you deserved. My patience with you has reached its limit. If you keep bothering me and Anna, don't blame me for forgetting the past altogether." Willow bit her lip, saying nothing. One of the security guards asked, "Young Master Wang, how should we handle her?" I said, "Let her go." The moment they released her, Willow screamed and ran toward Makoto. She pulled out a Swiss Army knife that had been given to her by a foreign guest earlier, and drove it straight into Makoto's abdomen. She shrieked, "This is all your fault. You ruined me. You ruined my whole family. Just die already." Willow stared at the blood pouring from Makoto's stomach, and suddenly burst into maniacal laughter. But when she heard someone in the crowd mention calling the police, she bolted toward the road. She screamed hysterically, "Do it again. This time doesn't count. I want to start over again. Come on, hit me. I want to be reborn again. Hurry." The next second, bang. Willow, like a broken rag doll, was sent flying into the air, then crashed heavily onto the pavement. She seemed to forget. The last time she was reborn, it was because I had died. But this time, I was very much alive, so there would be no second chance for Willow. Anna, shaken by everything she had just witnessed, teared up. She asked, "George, Willow really died. Does it make you sad?" "No, because of Willow, I understood even more deeply. I must cherish the people who truly love me," I said. "Let's go upstairs. Your parents and mine are probably getting impatient by now." Once we stepped into the elevator, Anna couldn't help but wrap her arms around me. She said, "George, I love you. I love you too."